Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Elsie and this is
Tony.
okay. Now, I feel like I've been saying this for like the for three consecutive programs, but again, we're going to talk about a very controversial topic. Now, before we start, I'd like to ask you: would you say you're a gentle parent?
It's a while ago. I probably was. I wasn't a brutal parent, although I don't think I was anyway. But on the basis, it's almost you have to say, well, what do you mean by gentle?
Hmm.
Is it mean permissive? Let the child do what they want?
Right.
No, I wasn't that kind of parent. No.
Hmm.
But if you ask me what I'm think, if you did ask me, which you haven't yet, as to where I'm coming from now, I believe that gentle parenting is good in the sense that you should be as absolutely gentle as possible
Right.
with your child and indeed with all the human beings we meet,
Hmm.
but as firm as is necessary. Rather like a body needs a strong skeleton structure, but covered with flesh, so it's not just hard. And if you just have flesh without a skeleton, it just falls like a bit of jelly,
Apart.
you know.
Oh right, yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
and of course, if you have that attitude with children,
Hmm.
well, they unfortunately they walk all over you. But the biggest tragedy isn't them walking all over you because you deserve it. Actually, if you don't bring your children up right, the
Right.
biggest tragedy is that you're not preparing them to really relate to the outside world, where they're
Right.
not going to be cut as much slack.
Yeah.
They're going to be punished when things go wrong, and they're going to feel pretty miserable because they're not coping, and they're going to
Yeah.
be blaming everybody else in the world,
Hmm.
and ultimately they may come round to blaming their parents. I think we've had this kind of conversation about parenting before on one of the earlier programs,
We
but I think you want
have.
to go deeper, don't you?
Yeah, we have. But I think where this is coming from is, on a lot of like talk shows when they talk about gentle parenting,
Hmm.
I feel like everyone just goes to the very extreme, whereas we don't really have to. Like so many things in the world, people think it has to be to the very extreme. Like if you're not being a gentle parent, then you're being an authoritarian
Hmm.
parent, and you're beating up your child and stuff like that. But I don't think that people who don't subscribe to gentle parenting necessarily think that you should be subjecting your child to corporal punishment. But
Hmm.
I just think that like in our world today, when someone says gentle parenting, they're more talking about permissive parenting,
Hmm.
where they just allow the child to do whatever they want, make their own decisions, and like if you've met children who have undergone that kind of parenting, you'd know that it doesn't help them, it doesn't help the people they come into contact with,
Absolutely
it
not.
doesn't help the parents, it doesn't help anyone at all. So I'm just wondering why it's
Why do they
being
do it?
like why is it still a
Well,
thing?
because basically there's obviously usually quite a bond of affection between the parent and a child, and you
Right.
want the child to be happy, you want the child to smile at you, you want the child to give you a hug, or thanks, mummy, thanks, daddy, whatever the case may be. And yeah, you don't want to disappoint them. At the early stages, you mightn't be able to take their crying and whinging, so you want
Yeah.
to shut them up. There's that in it as well. But
Yeah.
even if they're past that stage, you don't want to make them sad. Why not just give them that when you know you can? And of course, you give them it, and that's it. The trouble is, the child then becomes quite entitled because they feel all I have to do is to make it. That's it. I want it. Because I
Yeah.
want it, it has to happen. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, the world outside is not quite like that. You may
Mm.
want something, and then you have to put some kind of effort into it as to what you want. You can't just snap your fingers and it appears for you.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Mm.
that is a really good point, because I think Candace Owens has a saying which has become very popular: "Life is tough. Get a helmet." It's like
Yeah.
it's such a popular saying now, and I think that if everyone adverted to that fact and actually like drilled it into their children,
Yeah.
that the world would be a much happier place. Because nowadays we just have people who can't, first of all, stand like people saying no to them,
That's
just
right.
because, well, their parents have never ever said no to them.
Mm.
They get whatever they want. um and these things don't go away. It's not as if, like, okay, when the person is a child,
Uh huh.
then yeah, they're not okay with being said no to, and then when they grow, they're
Yeah,
like they're all of a sudden they're mature enough to take someone saying no to them. No, it goes on and on and on, and
absolutely.
then that's how we get people who get violent when, like, they
When they
don't
haven't got
when they
their
don't
way
get
instantly, that's right. No,
when
you're
they
you're
don't.
100% right. That's true. That really is. And the sad thing is that most of those parents are well-meaning.
Hmm.
They don't hate their kids. They love their kids. They want their kids to be happy. They feel that by giving them and giving into them, and it makes the kids, as I say, so entitled and feel that everyone's got to say yes to whatever they demand. And yeah, when there's a problem, and you can't just get it by snapping your fingers. And actually, the children who've been born, okay, into billionaire families, for argument's
Right.
sake,
Yeah.
okay, they may have the resources to be able to, yes, get whatever they want like that. But there's some things, of course, that they can't get like that.
Hmm.
Whether it's a meaningful relationship
Right.
or an understanding of life or whatever. There's so many things which are closed off to
That
them.
you can't
They can
get
just
with
they
money.
can buy toys. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you get bored with buying toys, and you look for something else to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And like on the case of not being able to, even if you have all the money in the world, not
Mhm.
being able to buy whatever you want, just reminds me of, the story of this girl in London that got stabbed, and then she got stabbed because she had said no to a guy,
Mm.
and the guy had followed her onto the bus. Like it was a primary or secondary school girl, and it was so, like just so strange to me that like someone at that age, can feel things so deep that he definitely absolutely has to get what he wants, and
Yeah.
she died.
Yeah.
And so like it doesn't always end that way, but then it just goes to show what the extent of not being as hard as necessary, as you would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
with our kids are, because then everyone else in the world has to suffer for it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But what would you say is like would be a perfect balance? Because obviously you're not trying to raise liars in that sense, and
Mhm.
like it's actually a running, like a popular thing that if like the strictest parents raise the best liars, just because like as if your child can't come to you with what they've done wrong,
Mhm.
then then the other option is to lie to you that they never did anything wrong.
Yeah.
But how do you actually like find the perfect balance between um being able to like allow your children to face the music in terms of like if they do the wrong thing, they get the discipline for it, but also they should be able to come to you with their worries and stuff like that.
Mm. To have for the child to have enough trust to admit,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, I suppose so much also depends on the example they get from their parents as to whether
Right.
their parents accept responsibility for their actions because they lost, whether the parent lost a job because they went in just persistently late. Well, okay, that's giving a bit of an example to a child that yeah, punctuality is important in your life,
Right.
in school, whatever.
Yeah.
The other behaviours that parents might indulge in, and of course the kids pick up on this,
Mm.
But basically, if there's to foster the atmosphere of love and trust, and to teach the child that correction is part of loving parenting, bringing the
Yeah.
child up. It's not a dichotomy where you've got sort of, as you say, harshness and
No.
gentleness is all part of good parenting. Fortunately or unfortunately, a child is not pre-programmed to just develop from one age to the other without any input
Oh
and
my
become
god.
perfectly good. It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
No,
Now
it's
that you mention it, we probably think that that's how it works.
yeah, no. It's a combination of nature and nurture, as all the psychoanalysts will tell you,
Right.
the
Yeah.
psychologists. Yeah, yeah. The child is there now. You're nurturing it. You've got to feed it. I keep saying it. Well, fine. Why not? It's
Oh, you're
pretty-
gonna get cancelled.
yes, we're using a nice neutral pronoun, but there you go. We've got to do more than feed. You've got to teach
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
help that living little human being to be able to take their useful place in society,
Oh
to
my
relate
God.
to other people,
Yeah.
to not get themselves into trouble over their head, to be able to do all sorts of things,
Yeah.
and to show love and care for other people and their property as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all got to be taught. A kid, it does not come to that automatically. As if you see any toddlers, that's mine, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
You don't see too many toddlers saying, sorry,
you
that's
can have
yours.
that.
Yeah, oh, that's yours, I
Yeah,
should
no,
tell
you're
you. No.
actually like, yeah, that, no, yeah, like just you saying that like children do not develop naturally from one age to another. It's just like that's not something I've ever heard before.
Mhm.
But I feel like we probably think that way for some reason. That when we like, like
Well,
when
yeah,
you
give your
give
kid
it to a
food, give them
child, you
hugs, give them toys, and they'll be all right. Well,
and then we leave out the other social,
mhm.
development for maybe the school and for other people to, train like or for the child to become whatever
Yeah.
they they want to become.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say in my fairly long life up until now, I've never met anyone who's complained about their parents being strict with them. There's a couple who've complained, obviously, if their parents have been abusive. That's one thing.
Right.
Okay. But or if they were punished for sort of whatever misdemeanor X and brother John was not, for example, then yes, that kind of unfairness had rankled. Not the punishment, it was unfair because it was out of balance.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, everybody's been glad, especially when, you can look around and you see the people that are getting into trouble, the people who got the low-level jobs on a permanent basis, the people who are just really, really sort of struggling on the margins of society, the great majority of those people have not been brought up.
Yeah.
They've not been brought up. They've really has the trouble.
Yeah.
And
oh, you'll get so much hate for saying this.
I know. Well, that's fair enough. I think it's about time actually we sort of started saying what needs to be said and what.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're lucky in a way. I mean, we haven't got billions behind us like J.K. Rowling, but there again, we don't quite have to worry the same yet.
Yet.
And if if that happens, well, as it says somewhere, I remember reading, it is better to suffer for doing right than for doing wrong.
I don't know where you got that from. But
That's right. Yes.
About right,
Yes, I
going
suppose.
on
I mean,
and on.
it becomes funny enough in terms of one sort of sentence encapsulation, that being as absolutely gentle as possible, but as firm as necessary. Firm sounds nicer than hard, but it's the same thing, in the sense that you don't let the kids get away with nonsense for their own good, not for for an ego trip for you, not for that, just for their own good.
For their own good,
Yeah, it's just like in the same way that you would stop a child from playing chicken on a road because they're liable to go to die. Or you wouldn't want them a toddler putting their fingers into an electric power socket, and they can't understand. And sometimes you have to reinforce and say, no, you don't do that. So they, well, yeah, it's better than saying ow, because you slap their fingers, than going ow when they put their finger in the socket.
And then they die.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. All in the cause of gentle parenting,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but we have come to
the end of our... Yes, this is the second ending.
And if you've watched to this point, we're guessing you're enjoying the program. Kindly like, comment, subscribe.
Share.
And until next time, it's bye for
Now.
If you like this video, kindly like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find us on other social media platforms, on Twitter at Talk with Tony and on Instagram at talkwithtony.live. Don't forget, live, laugh, and most importantly, love. Watch out for the next video. It's bye for now.